Hey, welcome back to economics class, good students. Another day, another video. Today we're going to be talking about some car insurance. This one should be pretty quick. I've got a website that we're going to look at that's going to show you guys some stuff. But hey, so far, one daily work assignment in there. People are starting to turn it in. Got some go-getters getting things done on the day that it's put out. If you haven't got those progress papers in, be getting them in so you could start working on it as we go forward. Now, insurance. This is a tricky thing. I try to do my best to help you guys out with this because I know quite a bit about the insurance industry. I worked in it for a little while. So I've got an estimator today to kind of help you find a decent enough price to use for the project without having to give your information to people and get a bunch of phone calls from salesmen because nobody wants that at all. But before we get into that, we got to thank today's sponsors. Today's sponsor, Bob's Used Medical Masks. All right, hey, we wear underwear more than once, right? Just run this stuff through the wash, hit it with a little disinfectant. As they say over at Bob's Used Medical Masks, what's the worst thing that could happen? All right, hopefully y'all realize this is not something you should do. It's a really, really, really bad idea. All right, so thanks to our sponsors, Bob Used Medical Masks. Now, insurance, okay? The whole concept of insurance is protecting people from hazards, and there's a lot of different hazards that it can protect you from, and how much you pay for insurance is based on how at risk you are for that hazard. And we cover things like cars and homes and health and life and property, and people take out special insurance policies to travel. We take out insurance policies sometimes when things are being shipped to us. Basically, if something goes wrong, it's the insurance's job normally to step in and make it right. Pay for whatever it is that needs to be taken care of. There are exceptions. There's a lot of different little rules that get involved with this. We're not going to talk about health insurance in this project. We will talk about renter's insurance, which is a type of protection for homes. We'll talk about car insurance mostly because by law you have to have it. The other stuff like health insurance, life insurance, I'm not really messing with that. Health insurance changes frequently, and it's different from job to job. So just know that it's there, but I'm not making you do that in this project. Now, car insurance. Your basic required insurance by law is just to have liability coverage. Liability coverage doesn't protect you from anything except losing money. What it's for is to protect other people. If you cause an accident, liability coverage pays for the damages to the other person's car. Okay, it is protecting the world from you. Okay, it doesn't fix your car. If you only have liability insurance and you cause an accident, the insurance company is not paying to fix your car. You got to have more coverage for that. The reason why by law you have to have that is, vehicles are dangerous and they can cause a lot of damage to both property and to people. And if somebody just hits you with their car or hits your car or anything like that, you could be out a lot of money when you didn't even do anything wrong. So the reason why we carry this liability insurance is as a type of financial responsibility to say, hey, if I cause an accident, you're going to get taken care of, because otherwise you're going to get taken to court, and if you don't have the money to pay, you don't have the money to pay, and that other person still ends up having to pay for everything themselves. Now, what will cover you if you're at fault in the accident is full coverage. You will notice I put full in quotation marks. It doesn't cover everything. There's still other types of coverages. Full coverage is actually two coverages. You have collision, which is what's going to fix your vehicle if you hit something, a car, a tree, a post, run it off into a ditch. It will cover that. Comprehensive coverage covers basically nature damaging your vehicle. If there's fire or a hailstorm comes through, or if you hit an animal, and hitting an animal is not covered under collision, it's covered under comprehensive. But also things like theft or vandalism. So if you make your significant other angry enough that he or she goes all Carrie Underwood and scratches up your vehicle with their keys, that's going to be covered under comprehensive if you have that coverage. If you don't have that coverage, you're paying for all of that stuff yourself. There's more ins and outs to this. This is just a very basic overview. If we were doing this in person, I would be going over a lot more. But you guys don't want to sit through a 30-minute video about insurance. I don't want to make a 30-minute video about insurance, so we're not going to do that. Now, things that affect how much your car insurance costs. Age is a huge one. If you're under 25, your car insurance is going to be more expensive. 25 is really the last magic age you get. You get 16 where you're allowed to get a driver's license. You got 18 where you're now considered an adult and you can vote and stuff like that. You got 21 where you can partake in vices. You can buy that alcohol and tobacco. And then some people think the party's over at 21. The real people know the party is over at 25 because that's when you get that drop in car insurance. It's a very adult thing to like. Your driving record is going to affect how much your insurance costs. If you have a history of tickets and accidents, your insurance will get more expensive. Basically, the amount that you have to pay the insurance company is based on what they believe they're going to have to pay for you. And if you get in crashes a lot, that means this insurance company is going to be making a lot of payments. They're going to make you pay more. If you have a lot of tickets, the ticket doesn't cost the insurance company anything, but it shows you have bad driving habits and very well may cause an accident at some point. So they're going to raise your rates more as a way to tell you, hey, calm down. Drive a little bit more carefully so you don't cause accidents and cost us money. The type of car you have is going to be a big factor in how expensive this is. Sports cars and luxury cars, their full coverage can be very, very expensive because it's hard to fix them and it's more expensive. The parts are not as standard. And also with sports cars, those things are really fast, and inexperienced drivers, they don't handle those cars as well as they handle other cars. So especially a younger driver in a sports car, that's going to be big insurance because that's an accident waiting to happen. Now, you guys who drive those nice big decked out trucks, your liability is going to be more expensive than someone that drives a smaller vehicle because that big truck is going to do more damage in a wreck. Again, how much you pay is based on what the insurance company believes they have to pay. And then the last thing that really affects this is where you live. If you live in a place where people are getting in accidents all the time, your insurance is going to be higher because, one, it's more likely you're going to be in an accident, but two, insurance is kind of a regional thing. They zone it off, and all of the people that have, let's just say, Progressive. Okay, everybody that has Progressive in this area, their money all gets pooled together to pay out all of the different claims that might happen. So, like for example, I lived in College Station for a little while, and driving in College Station is like driving in a bumper car game. The college kids there, boy, do they just love to hit other cars. It just happens constantly. There's accidents all over the place. Insurance is pretty expensive there. You move somewhere that doesn't have as many accidents compared to the number of drivers, insurance rates are much lower. Okay, so sometimes that's a thing to think about if you're really, thinking about, hey, do I want to live right where my job is, or do I want to maybe live a little bit more out in the country and just kind of drive into work? If you live a little bit more out in the country, your insurance rates might actually end up being lower if the accident ratio is lower in that area compared to being in the city. So it's just a thing to think about. Now, what we're going to look at here real quick is a car insurance calculator, or it's really an estimator. And is it perfect? No, but it'll give us something. So what we're going to do is if you look in your classroom, I put a link in there for you. You go to that link, and whenever you're in that link, you're going to come to this page. Now, you notice it says Texas. If you're going to live in a different state, choose that state off of here. Okay, and then what you're going to do is scroll down pretty far till you see this thing, this little happy driving car with an umbrella on it. Excuse me. Okay, so if you see here, I've already kind of just set up for like a 22-year-old male in Livingston, liability only, just state minimum. So if you already own a car outright, says the monthly average $69 a month, at the low end $51, at the high end $97. I don't necessarily agree with this. I know people that have liability only insurance that maybe pay a little bit more than this, but hey, if this is what it gives you, this is what it gives you. You can screenshot this, to use in your project. Now, let's say you want full coverage. Let's say you're the same 22-year-old male living in Livingston, and let's say instead of liability only, let's click this full coverage down here. And then let's click this update rates. Okay, now you see the average 241, the lowest rate 158, the highest is 406. This is a pretty big swing here. Okay, now the way that you do this for your project, if you know that you're the type of person that's got the tickets and the accidents, if you are an at-risk driver, be honest with yourself for the sake of this. You're going to be somewhere between this average and this high, unless you just have a bunch of wrecks. If you've got multiple at-fault accidents, take the high. Okay. I don't want anyone going below average, because I'm telling you right now, this number right here, this 158, this doesn't happen very often. This is far more likely. This is what it's going to be if things are more expensive. Now, depending on where you're living in the state, this is important over here. Okay, this zip code. What you want to do with this is use the zip code for the place that you've already chosen to live in the project. Okay, set that up, set up the age. If you're going to 4 years of college, you're going to be 22, 23 years old. If you're just going straight in out of school, out of high school, you're going to be 18 or 19. Okay, choose the area. Just to give you an idea, if you're an 18-year-old male in Livingston and you want full coverage, that 241 just jumped up to 394. That's crazy, right? That's super huge. That's why I say the younger you are, the worse this is. Okay, this is way higher than for a 22-year-old. Their low rate is higher than what it was for the 22-year-old. And look at this high rate over here. Oh, this is ridiculous. Almost $600 a month for car insurance if you're a bad driver with full coverage. And if you're making payments on a car, it's got to be full coverage. The only way that you can really get away legally with just state minimum is if your vehicle's paid off. The bank that owns this car until you pay it off wants you to have full coverage so that if you wreck it, they still get their money. Okay, so this is how this works. Use this. If you have questions, drop me a comment, send me an email. But yeah, make sure you're down here. This is an ad. Don't mess with this. Okay, this area up here, this is an ad. We're not going to mess with this one. We're going to scroll down to this thing that says Texas car insurance rates by zip code. Okay, this is how I'm going to know who's watching this video and who is just clicking numbers on a website. Please watch the videos. Tell your friends. Watch the videos. I'm trying to help you guys out. Okay, so be working on this. Get this insurance in there. Once you've got this number, just pick a company. Pick which company you would like to be with. I'm not real picky about that. If you have questions for out-of-state estimators or anything like that, you have trouble finding something, let me know, guys. I answer your emails pretty quickly. It's really all that I have for right now. So hopefully you guys are having a nice, safe quarantine. You're not buying your medical masks from Bob's Used Medical Masks. Stay safe. Hopefully by the end of the week, we'll start having some ideas of what's going on. Quarantine's going to stay in place until the 3rd, though. Absolutely. And hopefully after that, we get to come back to school. We'll just have to see. It depends on how safe things are. So stay safe. Keep working on the project, guys, and I'll talk to you next time.